Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 98 of my little gaming show where once a week I just has to talk about video games. I love them so much. New games that I'm playing today, old games that I grew up with. It doesn't matter. Video games. What the heck are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about the Crash Bandicoot Trilogy. A trilogy that I have never played up until this moment. I never played it as a kid. I had the Spyro games. Now, I wasn't in a war by any means. I was not against Crash Bandicoot. I just didn't have it. I did grow up with Crash Bash, which is like the party game, but I was a huge fan of Crash Bandicoot, the character, but never played the homies games until now. So, I did not play the original trilogy. I don't own all three of those games, so I played the insane trilogy from Toys from Bob. I played the Spyro one. I felt it was a very good remaster that was, I would say, generally liked by the fans that grew up with those games. So that is the trilogy that I replayed. I did not 100% any of these games because they are, I will just say they are substantially harder than the Spyro Reignited trilogy. I 100%ed all three of the Spyro games, no problem. It was almost easy peasy, lemon squeezy, if you will. But Crash Bandicoot, I wasn't even gonna try. After the first game, I was good. I was like, you know what? I don't need to shave off some years of my life to try and get through this game and 100% it or whatever the heck. So, to all of you out there that did or have or whatever the heck have 100% beaten these games, got the platinum, congratulations. You are better than me. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through all three of the games and just talk about my experience with them, give them a quick summary review at the end, and we'll figure out which one I ended up liking more. I'll tell you now, it's not the first one, but for some reason, I don't know, I just need to get this out of the way, because whenever I think or see Crash Bandicoot, I am always brought back to the stupid movie. Now, if you've watched this movie, I am sorry, but Baby Geniuses. I watched that movie dozens and dozens of times growing up. Even back then, I knew it was bad. Like, it is not very good at all. But, you know, the premise is pretty fun. Got these babies that are geniuses, and, like, they communicate on the baby plane, and then they cross over the baby plane. And that's when, like, you know, you start understanding your parents or whatever the fuck. But, yeah, prior baby plane. Anyway, I've always reminisced of Crash Bandicoot because my favorite part of that movie was when the kid gets into the mall and he's just, you know, he's trying on clothes, he's dancing to freaking awesome music, and of course he gets to the video games and he's playing Crash Bandicoot, and I was like, oh snap. So that is pretty much all I experienced in terms of the video game. I don't even think I had any of my friends or family members that had Crash Bandicoot. We seemed it was like a Spyro family over here. Again, nothing against Crash. I liked him, but yeah, only had Crash Bash. So before we get into the Crash talk, let's talk about what I've been up to over the last week or so, as I always encourage you to let me know what you've been up to over the last week or so. What movies have you seen lately? Any good TV shows? And of course, what video games are you playing right now? Did you dive into Elden Ring? And let's just do that right now. Yes, I am back into Elden Ring, and yes, I got the DLC. I am in the Shadow Realm, baby. I'm in that bitch. I am fairly, I don't know, I'm a handful of hours into the DLC now, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5 bosses defeated, give or take, and god damn. So I will most certainly be reviewing Shadow of the Erdtree when and if I ever do get through it. It is rather difficult. Apparently there was a patch that was released that made the game easier, at least made the players stronger, and so yeah, there's a big hoopla about that. I don't care. I'm just going in. I'm enjoying my time. Yeah, I get my ass kicked, and yeah, I would just, if I get stuck at something, I just move off. There's other things that can be done. Like, all right, that was 10 attempts. I'm not getting close. I'll move on. So, but I will admit, today, when the patch came out, I will admit, yeah, I had an easier time today. I was much more successful. So I guess the patch is doing its job anyway. I'm having a great time with it. I will review it. There are some issues with it that, yeah, you'll just have to wait for the review for me to tell you about some of these issues, and they're not boss related, at least yet anyway. But I am just loving coming back to Elden Ring. It has been so long, 2 years now since I was done with Elden Ring anyway, fully platinum, 150 hours into that bitch, just slaughtered that game. Now, the only thing I will say is a massive disappointment about Shadow of the Erdtree: no new trophies. So there's nothing, no new trophies. Again, that doesn't really spoil my experience whatsoever, but it would be nice, to have a little something to say, like, hey, I beat this boss, and I like having those trophies for those reasons. Just be like, yeah, at least, I beat this thing on that day, like, oh snap. I'll always go back and probably look at the day and when I beat Ishin and Sekiro. So yeah, that is a little bit disappointing, but so far, so damn good with the DLC. So I'm digging that, diving into that. My wife and I, we finished off Moving Out 1, so we really enjoyed that. We were trying some of the challenges, and they were like, these challenges are damn challenging. So we're like, fuck it, let's move on. Let's move on. You see what I did there? Let's move on to Moving Out 2. So now we dived into that, and I think we only played like 2 or 3 levels or something, and it's very early into the game, so we probably haven't even gotten too many new mechanics, but it looks and plays slightly better, but it's just some more Moving Out, and we really enjoyed Moving Out. So yeah, we're diving into some of that. I am still playing some Metroid Zero Mission on the Switch. I'm enjoying it. It's very nice. It's good. Really not much to say to it. It's very similar feeling and looking to Metroid Fusion, which is great. I'm just getting a different side of the story. I've never played the original Metroid game before, so this is kind of nice to play. And yeah, it's good to have on the side. I'm definitely looking for the next game to have as like my side bitch, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I get frustrated with Elden Ring and I just need like something calming, I have this Galactic Healthcare or something. I think it came out on Game Pass not long ago, and I looked into it. It looks very similar to 2 Points Hospital, so I'm hoping maybe that's something I can dive into. I don't know. Again, always throw a recommendation out there if you got something nice and easy and fun to play, maybe on the Switch would be great. Anyway, that's all the games I've been playing in terms of television. Wife and I are almost done the Ride or Die, I think season 37, the Ride or Die, the challenge. And yeah, I think we are literally this time on the final episode. Last week I said I was on what I thought was the final episode. Nah, there was like 2, possibly 3 more. So again, not complaining. Really good shit so far. But yeah, I could personally go for like a little switcheroo here, I think. So we're gonna do Survivor. The fucking Bear is dropping, I think, this week. So yeah, that's must watch for myself. I love that show, so I'll be getting into that as soon as it's all done, and I'm ready for it. So that's coming out. Want to watch that. Been watching some more of the X-Men 97. Not done it yet. Kind of slowed down this week because, just other shit going on, and Elden Ring kind of taking over my life. I just want to keep playing it. There's a boss that I was grinding down. I was like getting closer and closer, but also, my time to leave for work time was getting closer and closer. I'm like, no, please, I just need, I was literally talking to myself like a parent, like, no, mom, please, I just need one more turn. It's like, no, you gotta go to ski. I had to go to work, and I did not defeat that boss, and I still haven't defeated that boss. So yeah, anyway, so in terms of movies, I got a movie in, and yes, it was another Godzilla movie, and it's probably gonna be my last one for a little bit. And this was Godzilla from 2014. This was like the American version. It's got fucking Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston in there. It's got an Olsen in there. I don't know if she's a twin or not, but she's in there. I will say, mixed opinions about this movie. The characters were dreadful, just super generic, boring, couldn't give a fuck about them. The main guy, he was just terrible. The kid was just brutal. I try not to rag on children too much, but it's not that his acting was bad, it's just his character was just an idiot. You're a moron. The mom was dumb. And God, let me tell you something. The most infuriating character was the doctor,
who's, supposed to be smart and shit. And for this movie takes, like, it starts at some year and then it goes, like, 15 years later. This guy's here and for 15 years, this guy has the look of utter confusion, not a singular clue as to what is going on. And that is the only emotion on his face for the entire film. And he's dumb as fuck. And he's supposed to be figuring this shit out. And, like, some moron that doesn't know anything is like, have you considered this? And he's like, with that fucking confused look on his face. I'm like, my God. Anyway, the characters, the story, trash. Godzilla looked good. I think this might actually be one of the best looking Godzillas. Looked great, considering I've watched newer movies, and I think this one still may be the best looking. The only thing was, for it to look so good, it could only be on screen for maybe 8 to 10 minutes total, which is highly disappointing. The nuclear blast was dope, and then its enemy. Its enemy was whatever. It's some sort of beetle fucking parasite thing. Very generic. It looks like a lot of, anything out of Starship Troopers, just bigger. It was fine. I will say it took about 50 minutes for anything cool to happen, and there was maybe a solid 3 that I did throughout watching it. All Godzilla moments, of course, but yeah, I would say you could skip this one. Even Bryan Cranston's character was, like, again, well acted, but just dumb, like, just so pointless. Like, they give you this big, like, dramatic death scene basically in the first 5 minutes, and, like, you don't even know anything about this character other than, like, it's, related to that dude, and you're like, well, whatever. Like, I don't know, the story was bad, and just bad characters. But as a Zilla movie, like, the Zilla stuff was, and the monster moments or whatever, and the big action sequences, which weren't that many of, it was pretty good. I don't know, I'd hit it with, like, a 6 out of 10. Like, you'd have to be pretty into Godzilla and possibly itching for a Godzilla to watch this. The only reason why I watched it, because it was the only one left that isn't the cartoons, at least, or the animation that I haven't watched yet that's on my streaming stuff. So I watched it, and yeah, I can't really say I'd recommend it. It would be a skip, but if you're dying for Godzilla and you need it, I guess, like, it's definitely not bad, but there's definitely bad stuff about it, but there's a couple cool spots, so I don't know. Can't really recommend it, and yeah, I think that's everything that I've been up to. Yeah, alright, let's freaking dive into it. We're talking 3 games. We got Crash Bandicoot, the original, the OG up first. Let's talk about this game, and where Naughty Dog... Is this their first game? It doesn't matter. It's definitely their first game in the Crash series. Let's see where it began. Oh my goodness, that music, it just gives me horrifying flashbacks to just last week where, oh god, we'll get there when we get there when I talk about that level, but what I want to do with this, we're just going to go through the games, and I'm just going to talk about the levels that stood out in good or for bad reasons. We'll talk about the boss fights, and yeah, but first, let's talk about what Crash Bandicoot is. It was, at least, a PlayStation 1 early platforming game where it was very interesting, where you're, like, behind Crash and he's running forwards or towards you, and sometimes left or right, but more often than not you're going forward, which, is of that era where it's like, oh, 3D, this is a new way to play your platforming game. So that's what Crash was doing. It was different for the time. It doesn't really stand up, like, you don't see a lot of games of this fashion. Clearly side-scrolling is, like, the way to go in terms of platforming, and there are the 3D lovers out there, myself included. I like both, but honestly, I think the cleanest, best performing platforming is 2D side-scrolling. That's where it's at. But this Crash Bandicoot, he's a Bandicoot. I don't know really what the fuck a Bandicoot is, but he was kind of the early mascot for Sony. There's really never been a clear-cut mascot with Sony. There's definitely not a Mario. There's not a Master Chief even with Sony. There's a whole bunch of people, and that's, like, I don't know, now I think closer than ever. Like, you had Sackboy, but I think the robot from fucking Astro's Playbot, whatever, that guy should be should be it. I think Astro's Playroom was one of the most charming games. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But early, everyone needed a fucking mascot in the 90s. You got, everyone just needed mascots. So Crash Bandicoot was very 90s, just a zany, very wacky character. Now, I will say, throughout the 3 games that I played, there was very minimal character development for Crash Bandicoot. He is a experiment from Dr. Cortex that's gone wrong and has escaped. That's all. I didn't even know that. I was like, whoa, I didn't know that. And I found that out in the first, couple of minutes of the game. So, spoiler alert, I guess. You're basically Frankenstein's monster that's on the loose. And yeah, you don't talk, you just kind of spin and go crazy. Basically, kind of like Taz from Bugs Bunny, something like that. And you get this, like, fucking mask, Ooga Booga, or Unga Bunga, whatever the hell his name is. I probably should have wrote it down, but I didn't. And yeah, that dude is kind of like the leading character. And you get Dr. Cortex, who has probably the most character development throughout the game. He's pretty solid. But yeah, it's just a platforming game. It is challenging. It's the first game is by far the most challenging, and for not the greatest reasons. But I don't think it was a bad game. I don't think it was a great game, and I give it leniency, kind of like I did with most people's or most companies' first game in a new IP. It's a whole new thing that they're doing. So, it's like, okay, if the bones are good, which I think the bones of Crash Bandicoot, the first game, are good, it just needs some tightening up. And that's what they did. And that's what Naughty Dog is really good for. Except when it comes to, like, the Jak and Daxter series, fucking the first game was incredible off the gate. And yeah, they nailed Jak and Daxter. Uncharted, the first game, was a little bit rough around the edges, but it was great. And yeah, they kind of nailed with Last of Us, but that's not fair. It's very anyway. Crash Bandicoot. So we get into the game, and it's very simple. It's almost like Donkey Kong Country, where you're just kind of on this map world, and you just go to level, and you have to progress through each level to get to the next one. Very simple, but man, right off the bat, I don't think it's the first level, but you get the running from the boulder, just super iconic. And yes, they're ripping off Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones was ripping off that, and that was ripping off this, and that's just how it goes. But it was awesome, and I love the theme of Crash Bandicoot, and of course the music. The music is fucking awesome. Probably like the music more in the Crash Bandicoot games than Spyro. Good luck not getting that initial theme stuck in your head for a little bit. It is just all time. I love the Crash Bandicoot theme. But yeah, running from the friggin' boulder at the beginning is great. It's like a tropical theme. Like, you got the tropical bushes, and it's foresty, and bamboos and stuff like that. It's definitely tiki bar type of thing. And from what I can tell, they obviously the remaster, the remake or whatever looks great in my opinion. I saw some complaints that they're like, oh, they kind of like, I don't know how to call it, just modernized it in the wrong way, took away the flavor of the original PlayStation 1, maybe too bright, too colorful. It took away from kind of what was the dark, grungy color scheme that was the PlayStation 1. Everything seemed a little bit darker, and yeah, Crash, it reignited, or the Insane Trilogy is very bright and colorful. It looks great. I am not complaining, but again, didn't play the original games, but if I saw some original gameplay, and yeah, it's definitely like the original Crash is darker, definitely chunkier, obviously. They cleaned that the fuck up, but I think it looks good. The remake and the old games look good. So we get to the first boss, who is Potboo. It was a solid first boss. You just jump on him, and you avoid his big smash attack. Some things are very easy, and other things are not in this first game. Then you get Hog Wild. That was just a fun level where you get on top of a hog, and honestly, kind of fucked up. There's a part in that level where you have to jump over, like, dead hogs, and you're on a hog, jumping over dead hogs. I felt like that was a little fucked up. So fucked up, in fact, that I had to write that down. But it was a really fun level. And this, like, you can see some of the early really standout levels. They just, like, triple down on that by the third game. They're like, okay, these are the fun levels. Let's just do a bunch of these. Like, riding on shit, like, just flying through levels. By far, one of the early standouts was Hog Wild. Just going fucking fast and riding over shit. Really fun. And oh my goodness. So the first level that really got me, like, it's like, all right, the controls are pretty fucked up a little bit. And the level design was just like, okay, what are we doing here? Similar to, like, some of the bad 3D levels in Mario games, like Sunshine, where it's like, all right, we're going to climb up a big fucking tower that's really monotonous, and it's very, very easy to fall off, and you will fall off 100 times, and you just have to keep going up and all the way back down. And yes, if you haven't heard this podcast before, I am dreadfully awful at platforming video games. All sorts of them. 3D, 2D, no D. I am awful at platforming games. I'm just bad at them. I don't know what it is. I have terrible patience for some reason when it comes to these games. I just want to go. And someday I'll realize to have a little bit of patience, but man, that level fucking sucked. Just going up these stupid platforms. It took, like, most Crash levels are very quick. Like, you can, like, one of the big objectives, like, to collect, I think it's collecting the relics. I could be wrong, but, excuse me, the objective, obviously, of the game is to collect the, crystals. There's, like, 15 levels. Each level has a gem or a crystal. I think it's crystals, and you collect those. That's the main objective. That's the main thing. The only thing you have to do is collect those. So there's one semi-hidden in each level. They're pretty just, hey, they're right here. Just grab me and finish the level, idiot. You can collect gems, which is getting through the level, I think, without getting hit. Or you have to collect all the boxes, which can be very difficult. Some of the boxes are like traps. Some of the boxes are hidden, so that's another aspect to getting the 100% completion. And then there's the speed running. So each level, after you complete it, you can do a speed run of it, and you have to get through it at a certain speed to get the main fucking relic or whatever the fuck. So there's 3 objectives to every level, but one main objective you have to complete. Just collect the damn crystal, which is easier said than done, like I said, for some levels. So that level took forever, though. Like I said, that level probably took me like 10 minutes, where a normal Crash level is like 45 seconds to maybe 3-4 minutes at the most. So yeah, that level sucked. Then we get to Ripperoo. Ripperoo fucked me up. Oh my goodness. Took me a minute. It just took me a minute to figure out what the hell to do. Because, like, this dude is fucking jumping all over the place. He's throwing TNT down a river, and you gotta hit it while he's hopping around all over the place, like I said. So yeah, it just took me a minute, but I like Ripperoo. I was like, oh shit, I kind of remember this dude from the original game. That was fun. Oh god. The Lost City level with the bats and the lizards. Holy fuck. Again, another one of those levels, like, once you get through it, you're just like, I don't know what is wrong with me. Why was that so damn difficult? Like, but this level fucked me up too. Like, it would just have these bats that would come by, and you can't jump, or you just have to wait for them. So, but then there's also these fucking lizards that are running by on the ground, or they're walking. They're really weird looking, and they have different colors, and they'll do different shit. So, like, you have to, like, really time your jumps, and I was just, like, not fucking getting it. And, oh my goodness, it just, damn those lizards, man. Those things were, oh god. Oh god, here it comes. So here we get one of the worst levels in this game. That is definitely taking it down a point, because this level is just, like, just not fun. It is not well designed, and that is Road to Nowhere. So this is one of the bridge levels where you have to run across a bridge. It's pretty straightforward, but at first I didn't understand the wooden boards. There's like 3 different kinds, I think. So you have your standard board, you could walk on it, you can do whatever you want. You have the other board that breaks away eventually, and then the other board that if you jump on it, it just falls and you're done, son. That's it. So, me being just awful at platforming, before I figured that one out, probably lost like 15 lives, and it's a standard platforming game. You get like 5 lives. If you lose, you get a game over, and don't worry, I track the game overs, which I always do when I play platforming games, so I can just confirm with you how awful I am. But a lot of these deaths, weren't my fault. Like, I don't get it. The fucking boards were awful, so I got a solid 10 plus game overs on this one alone. So that's about 50 attempts for me to get through that. And yeah, I never want to play through. It's like this level and the other one we'll get to in a moment that makes it's like, nope, I never want to play through Crash Bandicoot 1 again, because these levels are just dreadful. I feel like the jumps were very unforgiving. Like, some of the ones in Crash, like, the first Crash is very basic. You have your jump and a spin attack. That is it. No double jump, no fucking... I think you can also crawl in the first game. I don't even know if you get the slide yet, but it's pretty bare bones, and some of the jumps are extremely unforgiving, and you gotta time them very well, and this fucking stupid bridge level just murdered me, bro. And then we get to something fun. Koala Kong was a fun boss fight, just throwing rocks at you and some TNT. And also, a very iconic part of Crash Bandicoot that I continue to just not tell you about is the crates. I mean, the crates are iconic, not quite to the iconic level of like the bricks in Mario, but you get the crates and the stupid TNT and the even stupider nitro boxes. Oh my god. So the TNT is red, classic crate. If you touch it, if you jump on it, you get 3 seconds. It'll blow up everything around it. Get the hell away from it. And if you smack it, you're dead. The fucking nitro box, if you touch it, you're dead. If you jump on it, you're dead. If you look at it wrong, you're dead. If you talk shit about it, you're dead. Those nitro boxes, dead to me. I hate those stupid nitro boxes. The TNTs are okay. They're fine. Like, I can hang out with the TNT boxes, hang out with them for a night, not getting mad. But, like, yo, we ain't spending a weekend together, probably. That's just like, nah, dog. We ain't on that level, but... yeah, you're just dodging that, and then you have to throw a rock at him while he's posing. So pretty fun, standard level. I like all the animations in these games are also excellent. Funny death animations, which only progressively get funnier and much better throughout the game. But really like the death animations. I felt like the characters, again, they lack any depth or anything, but they're fun. They look fun. They're big and goofy looking. They're all doing stupid, silly shit. And then another level that actually, speaking of good-looking stuff, the Toxic Factory levels are very nice looking. That's like the, I think this is where we're getting to like late game stuff. And yeah, that one was nice. Factory level. I felt like the metal was nice and shiny and stuff like that. Anyway, we get this is the boss that I most certainly remember. Definitely rather looking on him on the back of the cartridge or the back of the game case or commercials, but Pinstripe Portaroo or whatever the fuck, I don't know, but the Pinstripe guy, he is like the mobster. He's got the Tommy gun rifle and he's shooting it. He's pretty easy to beat. Like, you just attack him when he reloads or his gun jams, and you're hiding behind the boxes and shit. But this dude was super iconic. I saw him, I was like, oh my god, I remember this dude. So again, the boss fights aren't that difficult. They're just like pretty fun with a slight little challenge, a little gimmick. And then we get to the most motherfuck of this whole entire game, the worst level in all of the Crash trilogy, and that is High Road. Oh my god. So this wooden bridge level, bring back the wooden boards that all fall apart. That's fine. I know what this is now, but this is the one that took... this almost... I couldn't get through this level, honestly, for a little bit. I actually moved on to the second game, got my confidence back, because this game... this level... High Road shattered my confidence in myself so bad that I was like, I can't defeat this. All right, fine. I will just move on to the next game. The next game is better, and I got my confidence back a little bit, and I came back and started doing better. And man, this level, it's long, it's difficult, it's fucked, it's just awful. So, there's even like, I saw a guide. Or, I just watched. I wanted to see how long the level was, like if I was even getting close. And this is what shattered my confidence even more, is I was like, oh my god, I'm not even getting like halfway. And I already died like 70 times. I was like, ooh, maybe 100. I will tell you how many times I died in a second. But you can like walk on the ropes. But maybe in the first game, the original, it was easier to do that. But in the remake, like, nah, dog. I tried and it was equally hard, but... it's the fucking turtles that were just murdering me. So they got these fucking turtles that are, some of them just sit there, some are walking around, and you have to jump on these turtles to make certain jumps. There's some jumps that are impossible to make without jumping off of the turtle's belly. And there's like, the mechanic with the jumping on the turtles is like, it's pretty simple, but for some reason it's very finicky. It's if you hold the X button, you will jump further. Simple, right? And if you do not, you will not jump further. Simple, but for some fucking reason, I just could not get that simplicity. I don't know what it was, but those fucking turtles can burn in hell. My God. But I had over 30 game overs, so that is like 250 attempts or some shit like that. Fucking embarrassing on myself and the game developer, whoever made that level. If you do by happen chance follow me on Twitter, I rarely have to tweet about something, and I rarely tweet in anger or anything like that, because that's just bad voodoo, bro. You're just asking for it. But I just had to throw it out there, like, whoever hurt you, game developer, whoever designed the level, High Road, and fucking, wait, is it High Road and what's the other one, Road to Nowhere? Who hurt you? Who hurt you so fucking much that you had to put that evil out on us? Like, don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I can't believe that, but that was an unbelievably bad level. It's so bad that I quit. I had 30 game overs. I would say 10 of those game overs were my fault, but a lot of it was just horribly designed level. It's just bad. When I finally did get through it, I was almost like, we're very close to the end. Like, that's why I was like, I can't let it go. I was like, I can't let you beat me when I'm like just a little bit further away. We get to Slippery Climb. That was also tough with these long distance points between the checkpoints. There are checkpoints in the levels. Like I said, the levels aren't very long, so you're getting like 2, 3, 4. I don't even know if you would hit 4 or anything like that. But yeah, there was just really long checkpoints in that level. It was tough. It's a slippery climb, you know what I'm saying? And the bonus level. Let's talk bonus levels for a hot second. So, and I think there's also, anyway, we'll get there. So bonus levels, pretty simple. You'll find, like, I think there's like certain boxes you gotta hit, certain things you gotta do to open up the path to the bonus level. You go in there, and at least they give you a fucking chance where the bonus level, you don't lose your lives. If you don't lose a life or anything, if you die on the bonus level, and you can just retry it right there. So that was good, and they're like must needs. I mean, they give you tons of little apples. The apples are like the collectible resource. You collect 100 of them, you get a free life. And when you collect them, they go, and it's a hilarious sound. There's a great video that me and the homie Billy used to watch of this drunk friend that sends his buddy a video of him doing the sound effects for Crash Bandicoot. Look it up if you want to. Anyway, Slippery Climb was tough. The bonus level was fucking hell, but you need to get through them because I need those extra lives. You'll generally get like 1, 2, maybe 3 extra lives. And more often than not, I would lose that extra life immediately, but it is what it is. All right, we get a great level here. Castle Machinery. That was a great level. You're just riding along conveyor belts. Pretty standard, just fun-ass level right there. And that's another one where you're like, okay, this one stood out, this was fun, and you're going to see more of that kind of stuff in the later games. They start to get rid of the bullshit. You don't see I don't think there's a bridge level for the rest of this trilogy, thank God. I get to the final boss, I think. Wait, no, one more boss before the final boss. This is Dr. Nitrous Brio. This dude, I legitimately had no idea what to do, but once I did, it was a pretty solid fight. You just have to jump on these blobs, and then the blobs bump into him and do some damage, but I swear to God, I was jumping on these blobs and it wasn't doing anything but hurting me and killing me, and once I looked it up, had visual that, yes, you do in fact can jump on them, then all of a sudden it worked. Does that happen to anybody out there? You're like, I swear I was doing that, and when I have it explained to me like I'm 3 years old, all of a sudden you're like, oh, idiot, yeah, you jump on. I was doing that, but it didn't work. It was a fine boss fight, not bad. We get to the lab. That was a fucking stressful level. Some of them get long, and like I said, the checkpoints are, you're just like, oh, and some of the jumps are very, very stressful. We get to the Great Hall, probably the most difficult level in the whole entire game. I'm just kidding. It's literally, you walk across the platform. I think it's to have something to do with when you collect all the collectibles, maybe. You can go down there, but that was not an option for me. I literally, it took me 1 second to beat it. I was like, thank you, God, for giving me a mulligan. Then we get to the final boss in the first game, Dr. Neo Cortex. And he was pretty tough. He was a pretty tough boss fight. Not so hard that it wasn't enjoyable. I found the difficulty just about right. All you got to do is avoid his laser balls, and then you hit back the green balls. And I am always a fan of bosses where they shoot stuff at me and I got to smack it back. Preferably if we get into a little like ping or a little pong war where we bat it back and forth, like Ocarina of Time. But I enjoyed the final boss. And that's the end of the game. And the other great thing about Crash Bandicoot games, they're rather short. Short and sweet if you just want to get through them, 4 to 5 hours. If you want to complete everything, I mean, who knows, man. I wasn't willing to even attempt that. Probably add on another 4 to 5, like easily, because it is not easy. So I enjoyed the final boss. So how did I enjoy the final game? Or this game overall? Well, one thing I need to mention, and I don't know why they took this out in the other games, but one of my I think this is my favorite thing about Crash Bandicoot, the first game, is so you have to collect the boxes or whatever, and when you don't collect them at the end of the level, they smash the missed boxes over Crash's head, and the more that you miss, the worse the smashing gets. Like, he's just like, at first it's just like, ow, ow. All right, fine, that wasn't so many. But when you get to like 20, he's down on a knee. When you get to 30, this guy is like down on the ground. When you get to 50, he's just like a dead man. And I think I had one that was like, it was over 60 boxes. Like, what? I don't even know how I missed that many in a level. I suck that much. But that was one of my favorite things. It made me giggle every time, just wham, wham, wham. And the more the merrier. Like, the more I was dying when I had 60 boxes. I thought that was so damn funny. And they even give you a trophy for it, too. I think it's if you miss 30 boxes. It's just awesome. All right. Before I rate the game out of 10, total game overs for Crash Bandicoot 1 stand at a staggering 48 game overs. Now, take in note that 30 game overs was on High Road, and the other one was a solid 10 plus. So most of my game overs came from 2 terribly designed levels. But overall, I think, I took it with a grain of salt that it was their first game in the trilogy. And yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was a really pretty looking game. Now, this is me scoring the Insane Trilogy games, okay? I thought it was a great looking game, great music, but the controls needed tightening. Like, I don't think that was something they were to do. Like, they wanted the game to feel as close as it could. Now, this is something they add in more mechanics in the next game that make the game easier and more pleasurable to play. It's just that some of the jumps were really tight, and sometimes I would just fall off the edge. Like, the controls just needed to be a little bit more tight. And yeah, some of the levels were pretty damn fun. Like the hog riding one, that was dope. But Jesus, man, those bridge levels were fucking atrocious. Like, just, they were so atrocious that it definitely takes points away from the game, because they're levels I won't play your game again because of those levels. I'm just not fucking doing it. But I think overall, a good game, 7 out of 10, a good starting point for the series. So now, let's get to their sequel. Let's see how they do. Did they step it up big time in Crash 2, Cortex Strikes Big? Alright, now we get to the sequel, frickin' Crash 2 Cortex Strikes Back. I always thought the second game was called Warped, but that's the third game. So immediately I noticed that the game is just faster and more responsive off of the bat. The controls are better. Crash can now crouch and slide, so I'm pretty sure you could crouch in the first game, but it's not like anything good. It's just to avoid stuff, and it's really slow. But now you can do a slide, which is pretty useful. It's also an attack now, so you can slide into enemies, which is pretty decent. But the most drastic, unbelievably bad change that they made to this game is that you no longer get smashed by the missed boxes at the end of levels. That is something that they only kept in the first game. What the heck in heck? That was like, I loved that. Why would you take that away? How could you? I can't believe that. Another thing that they took away is the Donkey Kong Country style, like, overworld map where you're just kind of on this little map and you're just moving across. Now you get this, like, map room with a bunch of warps that you can go into. Much more familiar. That's what I remember Crash Bandicoot having. Like, you jump into the warp things. Yeah, so you get that. It's fine. It's a little bit, it doesn't matter. I felt like the original was fine. It was a little bit plain. This is a little bit better, a little bit more of an air. Like, there's nothing to do in this, like, little hub world or something. Would have been fun if there was maybe something to mess around with or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to the game. So we get to the first boss. It's Ripperoo, and Ripperoo messed me up again. God damn it. Jumping around, dropping those TNTs, and the damn nitro freaking boxes. Those nitros are the worst, man. Like, TNTs I can handle, nitros, nah. And then we get the panda pup. Oh my god. So this thing, well, it's not a thing. It's an adorable panda pup. It's just so fucking cute, and you get to ride it in one of the levels. It's just incredibly fun. I love that little pup. It is so freaking cute. I don't know what its name is. I imagine it has a name. I'm pretty sure I think you can use it in the Crash Racing if I am, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure you can use that, the panda pup. But goddamn, that thing is cute, and the level riding it around, that was fun. And you also get a water hoverboard, which was pretty neat. It's just like in one level. You don't get that all the time, but yeah. We get Snow Buzz, or it might be Snow Biz. That one gave me some trouble. Just, ice platforms. I didn't like the ice so much in Crash because, like, it slows down your momentum. It takes you a minute to get going, and yeah, ice has always just kind of been like ice is almost there with, like, water levels for me in platforms. Like, here comes the ice. It's just tricky and hard to platform. So yeah, it was whatever. We get the Komodo brothers. They were really easy. Most of the boss fights in the Crash games, they're not, like, crazy hard or anything. I felt like I just remembered them as a kid being really difficult for some reason, but I don't know, maybe I think Crash Bash actually had some boss fights, and I think those were really difficult, at least for me as a kid. Anyway, the Komodo brothers, they were easy. Just dodge their swords and hit one bro into the other bro, and Bob's your uncle. That bitch is done. Another great level, one of my favorite levels in this game, is the level where you're just running away from the giant polar bear. It's basically remaking, like, the level in the first game when you're running away from the boulder. Again, that's them like, all right, this was a good fun level. Let's do something like that again. And now you're running away from a giant freaking polar bear. And yeah, that was definitely a standout level. Really like that. Oh, finally we get introduced to, like, one of my favorite characters in the Crash universe, I guess, and that's Tiny the Tiger. Oh my god, he is anything but tiny. He is this jacked up freaking, who knows what that tiger has been injected with, but it's Tony the Tiger on megaroids. And I always liked Tiny the Tiger. He was one of my favorites to use in the Crash Bash just because he's massive and he's cool looking. Anyway, his fight, I liked his fight. You just dodge Tiny on the falling platforms. It was kind of like playing checkers. Like, he's kind of just moving around in, like, a checkered fashion, not really, but whatever platform he touches, it goes away, so you got to avoid that, and then you got to hit him or some shit. It was fun. I liked it. That was a fun fight. One level that did give me some problems was Rune Nation. Wrote down that one gave me some problems, but there is definitely no levels like High Road or nothing like that bridge level. I definitely died a lot throughout this game, but it was spread out evenly. It wasn't just like, I had 30 game overs on one terribly designed level. No, it was like, I might have had a game over or two on this level, one on this, maybe 2 or 3 on this one. The difficulty was much better balanced, and yeah. So we get to the next boss, Dr. N. Jin. That's good. I like that. He's just you just throw apples at his weapons. It was a fine fight, not too bad. We get Piston It Away. That was a tricky level. Tough jumps and the fucking shield enemy. Like, it took me a second to figure out you have to, like, slide into them a certain way. But if you don't, they'll bash you back and they'll knock you off the edge, or they'll push you back into fucking nitro boxes and kill you instantly. And yeah, some of the placement of these dudes, it's like they put them on a little platform and it's just a little like greasy. You're like, oh god, I got this just small amount of room to take this dude out, do the slide. Didn't like that very much. We get 2 levels that have you flying a jetpack, and it was pretty damn good. The flying controls did take me a second. I feel like they might have been reversed, up is down, down is up, which happens with flying stuff, but once you get used to it, it's damn solid, pretty damn fun. You just rip through the levels. Yeah, I thought those ones were damn fun. Spaced Out, those fucking electric enemies, man. Those things can burn in hell. Oh my god, I did not like this level. By far, my least favorite level was Spaced Out. Just really difficult, didn't like the enemies, they're annoying, didn't like the placement, but we get to the final boss. Dr. Neo Cortez, he is back, and he was super easy. You just use the jetpack to chase Cortez, you avoid his meteors and the bombs that he's throwing at him, hit him 3 times, and he is Dunyan Rings. I will say, I enjoyed Crash 2 much more than Crash 1. The controls were much better, level design was better. The warp hub thing, it was a little bit better. There wasn't really anything wrong with the original one, but this one's a little bit better. I felt like the graphics and the music are still great. Graphically, I don't think it's like a huge boost up, might be a little bit more detail and stuff like that. The animation's a little bit better, but yeah, the first game was good there as well. And yeah, just a good improvement over the first game. Not an amazing improvement. I'm not going to say it's like Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 levels of improvement, but very nice, very nice. 8 out of 10. I thought that was a great little game right there. And the end game, you get to unlock sprinting. Oh my god. Makes the game a lot better. I did a few speed runs, just collecting a few of the relics, and yeah, it was way easier and a lot more fun to go through those levels with the running, but still way too hard for me to 100%. And overall, game overs, I still had a whole bunch of them. 29 game overs. Yes, I suck. But I enjoyed this game. I thought it was a good little game. It's not like the most memorable thing. There's a couple levels that stand out, yeah, for sure. The jetpack was pretty neat, and the polar bear running thing was good. But yeah, good little upgrade over the first game. I liked it. Let's move on now to Crash 3 Warped. Okay, the final game in the Naughty Dog Crash Bandicoot Trilogy, and I feel like they went out with a bang with this one. This game, this is the one that feels the most Crash Bandicoot to me. We get a noticeable upgrade to the graphics, the backgrounds have more details, the enemies and the death animations especially are so much better. Almost immediately, in the first level, there's almost a shocking death animation. There's this enemy that has this giant sword that he's spinning around, and I ran into it, and he cut me in half. It just goes swing, and then Crash is just standing there, and then his top half falls off. And you're like, holy shit. He just cut me in half. That was amazing. So there is a lot of that. There's Crash getting incinerated. There's Crash getting electrocuted, smushed. You name it. That. They're just great. I love the death animations in this game. They're fantastic. And the hub world has gotten much bigger and better. So now it's this kind of just little almost like a level basically. You can walk around in it. And there's 5 worlds, but they're locked. So you start with the first world. There's 5 worlds, and each world has 5 levels and a boss to take down. Beating the boss, Crash unlocks a new move. And some of these new moves feature such things like the double jump. Oh my god. And the double jump makes this game so much easier, bro. Oh my god. Increased spin speed. That lets you glide now, so you can glide across stuff. You get a bazooka that can shoot boxes that are high up that you might have missed. You can just shoot them now. all the little things that maybe made the older games a little bit inconvenient. They have like, here you go, idiot, we'll make the game as easy as possible. And yeah, they really loaded you up with everything you really need to get through a Crash Bandicoot game. If they gave you all these tools in the first 2 games, holy shit, it'd be a cakewalk. And yeah, so quite a few new things to get right here. And yeah, so let's get into it. There are underwater levels. I will just say that they're actually pretty good. They're not too bad. Yeah, I don't know why every platformer is so emphatic on having a water level. I was so proud of Crash going so many games without having water levels, and then they did it in the 3rd game. But it was actually pretty good, not bad. And they have levels now where you actually play as Coco. I think that's like Crash's sister, maybe, or maybe it's his girlfriend. I don't know. But she is also a Bandicoot, and she's fine. She's whatever. But her levels are fucking dope because you're usually riding something, a boat, airplane, a fucking animal. It doesn't matter. Her levels are great because you're always just riding on something, and those levels are fucking fun. And like I said, they just like triple down on the levels that were fun in the first 2 games. And there's like, here's a whole bunch more of them and a whole bunch of different styles. Like, oh, you like the riding stuff? Here, have an airplane, have a boat, have a little tiger to ride on. It's that little tiger, by the way. Oh my God, it's so fucking cute. One of the funner levels too, as well. I remember I did it speed running. That's you're riding the tiger on this like, almost like Chinese Great Wall level. Very difficult to speedrun that level, but it was so much fun. All right. Tiny the Tiger, that was a fun fight. Dodging his lions, though. He would like send out these lions. It took me a second to realize that you can actually attack and take out the lions. I was just trying to dodge them, which was a little bit tricky. But yep, Tiny was a good fight. And then you get the iconic motorcycle. So you get on the cover of this game, Crash is on a motorcycle, and they have motorcycle like race levels, and it was pretty good. The controls were good. They're not great. Like, it's not Mario Kart levels. I don't even think it was up to par where the Crash Nitro Racing is, but it was fun. Again, you just get to do little races. They could be a little tricky. I found like it took me a couple of times to get first place because you just have to figure out what stuff to dodge and get used to the controls and stuff. But yeah, the motorcycle races were fun. I enjoyed it. Oh man, then we get Dingo Dial. So this guy, like, I'm getting more familiar with these characters because this dude was in Crash Bash, and I'm like, oh, I remember Dingo Dial, and yeah, he's a pretty good fight here as well. You got to avoid his fireballs. And then you have to like let him shoot his own barrier, and then you can attack him. But yeah, that was a good fight as well. The second motorcycle race was rather tough. I think the second motorcycle race was maybe the one I had the most trouble with. But again, it's tough but fun. Like I had no problem retrying the race over again. It was fun, but a little bit challenging. Dr. N Trophy, I think was his name. It was a pretty solid fight, just dodging his lasers, also rather a little bit easy. Dr. N Jin is back, pretty badass fight. He's flying a spaceship, and you're using Coco, shooting off pieces of his giant robot to take him out. So yeah, obviously the scale of the game as well has gotten much bigger. They're on their 3rd game now. Probably been using the same engine. Like, I'm trying to think back like to when they were releasing them originally. So yeah, now they can get more creative and bigger and better with their level design. And yeah, this one is dope. The 3rd motorcycle race, that was my favorite race. It just felt like the most well-designed. It was easy. Like, it was just really easy, smooth to get through. Just very enjoyable. That was my favorite race. And then we get the Dr. Neo Cortex. Fun battle with a good little challenge. Not too challenging, but I guess a little bit of story context. There's like this other evil mask called Unga Bunga who is battling with Ooga Booga or whatever the fuck their names are. I don't know. But yeah, and Cortex is working with this Unga Bunga, and then Unga Bunga is just more... I don't know. The story is whatever. It's not a goddamn story game. Anyway, you attack Cortex, knock Cortex down the hole 3 times, and win. That's it. I beat Cortex, and then I jumped down the hole. So, yeah, I beat Cortex, and there's like I didn't wait, like there's a little warp that pops up slightly after you beat him. I thought I had to jump down the fucking little tunnel, and I died, and I had to do the boss fight over again. So that was a little bit lame, but it happens. But by far, Crash 3 Warped is the best game in the trilogy. Like, it's not even close. Great level design and variety. The controls were great with the extra abilities, especially that double jump. That double jump was so clutch. I could have used that in the other games. But overall, this was a great game. 8.5 out of 10 for Crash 3. In all honesty, I would probably like rescore all these games. I do like a 6.5 on Crash 1, 7.5 on Crash 2, and an 8.5 on Crash 3. That's where I truly feel that's where it's at. Only cons I really have overall with... Oh, wait, hold on, before we get to that. Game overs that I had in Crash 4, game overs that I had in Crash 3, 4. Only 4, so I went from 48 game overs to 29 game overs to 4 game overs. So obviously the added mechanics, the extra jumping abilities, and just the better, crisper, tighter level design, yeah, they definitely cleaned it up. But it is by far the easiest game in the trilogy is the third one. Like, I really had no problems whatsoever. A few game overs, sure, but that's just me being god-awful at platforming games. So, yeah, easily Crash 3. If you only want to play one, I would recommend all 3. I had a good time. Crash 1 might have taken a year or 2 off my life, but it was worth going through to see where they started with this series and to finally get through it. And it just made the third game all that more better. It was just, oh, wow. Like, it makes me, like, I'm excited to try out Crash 4, even though I know it's not Naughty Dog or anything, but man, it sucks that they didn't continue, like, maybe one more game or something, because Crash 3, they really found the formula for that game. Like, the overworld, the level design, like, yeah, it was, I'm not going to call it perfect, but for Crash, like, it was very, very good. I was very impressed with the third game. Yeah, only 4 game overs. So overall, let's just go through the cons and the pros that I had of the total trilogy package. Cons, obviously, Crash 1's level design and controls needed a little bit of work. There is little story, if any, character progression and stuff like that in the series, but that's not what we're here for. But I just noted that because I was a little bit like there was nothing on Crash. Like, you just find out that he is a experiment gone wrong and he's on the loose, and that's it through 3 games. There's really nothing else to that. He doesn't even say anything. So yeah. But the pros though of the overall trilogy, it is a pretty looking game to look at. I love the colors, though some people might not like how overly colorful it is. I liked it. I thought the animations were great and got better throughout the series. The music is great. I really enjoy the Crash music. Crash 2 and 3, their controls were great, especially 3. Mostly fun level design, again, especially 3. 3, I don't think had a level that was like, bleh, to get through. Like, every level was fucking fun, enjoyable, and I really enjoyed that each game was around 4 to 6 hours to beat, but there's a lot of extra stuff to do. There's a lot more meat on that bone. You can go every level. You can do the speed run. You can try and collect all the crates in every level, and good luck, man. Good freaking luck. I'm not good enough to do that kind of thing, but I enjoyed the Crash trilogy quite a lot. I'm finally happy that I got through it. It's been on my backlog for ages, and I have finally knocked it off. Overall, I'm giving the Crash Insane Trilogy an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a great little package of video games. You can get it so cheap now, too. Like, if you haven't played the Crash games, there is no excuse to not go out and buy these trilogies. Both the trilogies are fantastic. That's how I got there. They actually had like a bundle where you can get both the trilogies for like probably like $50, and you're getting 6 great video games for that price. You can't go wrong, y'all. So get out there, play these trilogies, and maybe soon we'll do a versus and see which trilogy really is the best one overall. So there you go, everybody. That is the Crash Bandicoot retrospective / review, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. I just blasted through it too. It took me only about like a week maybe maybe a week and a little bit to get through these 3 games. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Very satisfying to beat 3 video games that quickly. It is rather fun. I would highly recommend that. So that is the show, everybody. Thank you so much for listening/watching. I do upload all these episodes to YouTube on the Gamer GX Videos YouTube channel. The link is in the description. Great place for you to go over there. Drop a comment. Want a question answered live on the podcast? Drop a comment over there. Send a message on Twitter. I got a Twitter page as well where I put up announcements. I got an email address where if you just want to have a private conversation, you could do that as well. Or send in a question in the email as well, and I'd love to answer your question live. Anything about wrestling, video games, hockey. I mean, I can maybe answer other things, but I don't know how good I would be. But I'd be pretty good at wrestling, video games, and hockey. So maybe stick to that kind of stuff. Anyway, what else do we got going on with the GamerCast or the GX Plus cast this week? We got big wrestling this weekend. It's Forbidden Door, so we're going to have an extra pay-per-view review for that, along with your wrestling recap for AEW and WWE. Been a pretty fun week so far. The Hockey Cast came out, so make sure you go listen to that. We have a new Stanley Cup champion and a whole bunch of wacky trades and shit going crazy in the NHL right now, so go over there and catch up on the latest news in the NHL. And yeah, I think that's about it in terms of what I got coming for the next GX GamerCast. I don't have anything solidified yet. Playing through Shadow of the Erdtree. I'll have a review for that in probably a week or 2. Gotta beat it first, of course. And yeah, so it might be a top 10. Working on a versus. And yeah, so there's always going to be some more stuff here for y'all at the GX Plus cast. So make sure you're sticking around. Review the podcast. Tell a friend or 2. And we will be back again with some more GX Plus cast.